Hey everyone, ArdrethShadow here, and welcome back to Doki Blue Skies. So previously, after MC finally managed to get Sayori to become his girlfriend, things started getting kinda shaky. Mostly because now Yuri's kind of... well, at least I think she's unintentionally thrown a wrench into the whole system. Okay, well anyways though, so let's get on with it. Feeling refreshed after a decent night's sleep, I'm patiently waiting for Sayori. The winter chill really has no mercy, especially this early in the morning. Thankfully, Sayori isn't particularly late, and before we know it, we're on our way to school. Yeah, they're not wearing jackets. Hey, Daniel! Yes, Lady Sayori, how may I be of service on this fine winter morning? I was curious. Okay, if you also in last episode, going back to the whole thing about Yuri, since she's kind of picking up on the fact that he's kind of spending time with her, now she's kind of starting to become... well, her depression is kind of kicking in, I believe. She even said something to the effect of Yuri's more fun to hang out with, or something. Who's your favorite club member? No, I hate that question. Not including you? I don't really have any, to be honest. Because you are my one and only. None of them are as awesome as you. Good answer. Especially in this universe where you want Sayori to love you. Come on, you've gotta like one of them more than the... Come on, you've gotta like one of them more than the others. I narrow my eyebrows. Where's this question coming from? You should damn well know where this question's coming from. Why the sudden interest? I just wanted to know how well you're getting along with the others. Uh-huh. You sure there's no ulterior motives here? Well, I know there is, but... of course she's not gonna answer me. Definitely not Natsuki, for obvious reasons. Because she wants to kill me in my sleep! How many times do I need to say it? I never got the feeling that she likes me. Plus, it's always really awkward when it's just the two of us. Because the air kind of becomes heavy and awkward, and the whole idea that she hates me. I spoke to her alone once last semester, and it was a painful experience. What about Monika? Monika hates me. Compared to Natsuki, we definitely get along better. She's just doing that so that you don't pick up on the fact she hates you. She looked super appreciative when I told her how much I liked the club, just before we performed. What about after you performed? But to be honest, she's always been a little... intimidating. Yes, she is. I even get that feeling here too. I nervously scratch the back of my head. You know, being the perfect student and all, maybe I'm imagining it, but sometimes I get the impression that she might look down on me. Oh my god! There! He said it! He said exactly what I wanted him to well, I didn't want him to say it, but... I've been waiting to see, does he actually realize that maybe she does kind of look down on him? Because according to the story notes, yeah, she kind of starts off like that. And yes, he finally confirmed my theory. Or as close to confirming my theory as we're gonna get, because... yeah, no Monika route, sadly. Don't get me wrong, I definitely appreciate all of her hard work for the club and all. Much like Natsuki, we've never really spent time together, so I wouldn't say she's my favorite either. Then by process of elimination, that only leaves one other person here. So, what about Yuri? Yeah. Yep, that's her depression talking. Unless I'm mistaken, Sayori is trying really hard to appear nonchalant. It isn't working particularly well. Well, yeah, I'd probably say her. Oof. I mean, I've got to know her a little better over the last semester, and she went from someone who could barely maintain eye contact with me to someone who agreed to go shopping with me when it was just us. You're not helping your case here. I enjoyed seeing her come out of her shell to allow me to see the real her, I guess. Help, I'm stupid and I can't shut up! Ah, okay. That's what I thought. Oh my... How is she gonna take this? Sayori, is everything okay? I noticed you left kind of abruptly last night after we talked about Yuri. Yes, because you're doing everything wrong, and it's frustrating. Did you guys have an argument or something? Yeah, I think in the Yuri route and in this route, the phrase, "Help, I'm stupid and I can't shut up," applies here nicely. Because he needs to shut up and it's frustrating. I'm here... Yeah, it's like, I'm here omniscient and watching the game play out, and I'm just here like, "You fool! What are you doing?" I can't really imagine those two having a fallout, of all people. It's extremely rare for Sayori to get angry, along with the fact that their personalities don't clash at all. So, what could it be? I know what it is, but I'm hoping you're gonna eventually find out. Oh, of course not, silly! I was just a bit surprised at how friendly she's been with you recently, that's all. Well, Sayori, the only thing I'll say is just be glad we're not in a game called Doki Doki Exit Music. Because then you would have every right to be concerned. Given how shy she is, I'm just curious to, I'm just a bit surprised, that's all. Right. School is looming in sight, so unfortunately our conversation will have to end here. So as you can tell, the 1930s were very important for European history. They were also very depressing in the United States. But yeah, if we're talking specifically European history, yes, they were. 1930s and most of the 1940s. Countries all across the continent were experiencing significant changes, both socially and politically and socially. Now, I made it my New Year's resolution to end my lessons before the bell rings, so we'll call it here, or we'll call it there. Oh, by the way, could I have a word, Daniel? Why? Why are you singling me out? What did I do? I swear to God, those must be the scariest words you could ever hear. Yes, especially if you're calling me out in front of class. Well, along with "I'm pregnant," "we have to talk," or "it's not you, it's me." Yeah. Or how about I'm just not that into you. Or "I'm into you, but I can only be into you Thursday nights from 6 to 9. Hopefully, things I won't hear from Sayori. Oh, yes. Well, especially the "I'm just not that into you" would also be something you probably don't want to hear from her either. Especially that second one. Ape. Hold on, what was the second one? "We have to talk." Yeah, I guess that would be. Well, I guess "we have to talk" could lead into quite a few different ones. I approached the front desk, awkwardly hovering by the side. "I need to give you the results of your exams, so here they are." Okay, add "I need to give you the results of your exams" to that list. As well as "I'm just not that into you." He pulls out a piece of paper and lowers his voice as some students are eating nearby. You don't have to look like you've seen a ghost. Then why the hell are you doing it this way? Why are you singling me out and... Seriously, This whole setup just screams like, yeah, not good. My mind wanders back to last October. Funny he should mention ghosts. Hey, Mr. Sakurai, did you know that there's a maniac running around in the school? No one believes me, but I know he's out there. For the most part, you've done well. Your grades in history, Japanese, and English especially were satisfactory. Looks like being in that literature club has really helped, huh? How'd you know about that? Are you stalking me? Daniel, please. I'm a wise old owl. Old? But how old are you, like 26? That means you're like my age. Are you calling me old? Aren't you one of the youngest teachers in the school? He sighs dramatically. You can never let me have my fun, can you? No, because you just called me old, and I don't like it. Although, your grades in other subjects could be a little better, namely math and physics. Don't give me that look. It's not a cause for concern, but I know you can do better. Yeah, about that. Truth be told, last semester was kinda hectic. Yes, because my best friend, now turned girlfriend, was going through a lot of emotional turmoil, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Relationship stuff. Sayori. Seriously, are you... Where are the cameras? Where are the cameras? Is Ashton Kutcher gonna come out and tell me you've been punked or whatever? How did you know? Or was it Emmy? I knew I couldn't trust Emmy! His eyes twinkle with a knowing smile. It's Emmy, isn't it? I need to have a word with her after this. Anyway, you're a bright student. Well, when you want to be. So breathe a sigh of relief. I'd recommend paying attention to the technical stuff from math and physics especially. And don't be afraid to ask for help when it's needed. Not everyone can excel at everything, but I've faith in your ability to bring your grades up. Unless your name is Monica Sakurai. Yeah, I'm still trailing on that. Thanks, sir. The past few months weren't easy. Relationships are tricky. That's putting it lightly. So I'm glad I was able to keep up academically at least. He pauses to study me, offering a shrewd smile. I don't like the sound of that. Of course. Of course. That's the Sakurai version. Just be careful not to make Sayori jealous. From what I've seen, the literature club is full of girls. What is wrong with you? He chuckles to himself. No, you're not getting away from this. Now I've got to go to a meeting that I have to pretend to be interested in. There really is no rest for the wicked. With a nod, he turns to leave. As I turn to follow him, my brain keeps replaying his words over to me. Just be careful not to make Sayori jealous. You mean like you are right now with Yuri? Fumbling for my phone, I notice it's a text from Monica, sent to all of the club members in a group chat. Let's see. Hey guys, just been told that the club room is being used after school today. It's for a supervision session for people to talk to their teachers about their exam grades. Plus, something super important has popped up, which means I can't make it. I'll do my best to rearrange it. Sorry, guys. I mechanically shoot her a reply while on autopilot. My brain is whirring at 1,000,000 miles an hour as I finally realize something I should have seen coming. What did you realize? Before I can say anything, Sayori starts the conversation. So, my teacher gave me the exam results back. Oh? Yeah, I can't really complain, I guess. I did much better than I thought I would for biology. That's good. But physics was a bit of a nightmare. That's bad. Math wasn't great either. That's also bad. But on the whole, I think I've done okay. That's good. Sayori, are you jealous of Yuri? What? Where did this come from all of a sudden? Okay, well, obviously, yes. He finally put 2 and 2 together. Geez, no wonder you're bad at math. The abruptness of my question, along with the clash of conversation topic, takes her by surprise. For a moment, there's a silence. A silence which grows heavier as I realize how tactful I was with my approach. Yeah, I'll admit, I don't think the blunt approach was probably the best one to go to. You should have at least maybe talked to her more and then maybe slowly ease your way back into the subject, instead of just cutting her short and then throwing her front and center into the spotlight. What makes you think that? You're my girlfriend, and I've known you for years. What should I have to be jealous of? Uh-oh. She's trying to sound confident in her answer, but the wavering in her voice gives her away. I don't know, that time we spent together, the Christmas shopping, and her walk home with me yesterday? Sayori turns away so I can't read the expression on her face. When she replies, she's talking to the ground. I'm sorry, Daniel. It's just, you seem so happy with her and... No! It's not what you think. We're just friends, Sayori. I would have thought you could see that. Well, her depression is telling her otherwise, you fool. Don't you trust me? Yeah. So I guess you could say one sort of side effect with depression, especially in relationships, and well, I guess friendships in general as well, is insecurity. Especially when you start wondering, oh hey, well, he's hanging out with her a lot more, I wonder what's going on here, does he not like me anymore? That sort of thing. I'm not sure I want to hear the answer. It's not that I don't trust you, it's just that... I'm trying to believe that I'm worth your time, and then I hear about how she's your favorite member of the club, and you really enjoyed seeing her come out of her shell. I told you! Seriously, he's stupid and he can't shut up! So that's why she was asking me. It all makes sense now. First her depression, and now the jealousy. Which is a side effect from insecurity. Possibly. At least that's what I'm thinking here. And when I asked why Yuri wanted to walk home with you, you said you couldn't tell me why because it was personal. You're not thinking... I mentally smacked myself. Looking back, of course that answer must have sounded suspicious. No! Honestly. Ugh, he is so... Ugh. It just frustrates me how dumb he is sometimes. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to sound like I doubted you or anything. He's brought this on himself, is all I can really say. Sayori and I settle into my house. Once we're comfortable, I continue to press her. Dude, seriously, just shut up. No, Sayori, it's not your fault. I didn't really see it from your perspective at all. Okay, well, at least he's trying to kind of remedy the situation, but still. I just cannot believe him. In 2 timelines, he's done the same thing. Please believe me when I say you're the only one I want. Yuri is a great friend, but that's it. The feelings I felt for her have always been platonic. She means nothing to me. I wrap her into a hug and she sighs. As I stroke her, she clings to me, hiding her face in the folds of my blazer. I'm the one who should be apologizing. Yes, you should be. I'm totally new to relationships, so I don't really have a clue what I'm doing. It's okay, it's okay. I didn't think you were doing it to hurt me or anything. I mean, she at least does trust him to that extent. The problem is really her depression. As she said, she's trying to feel like she's worth his time. Versus when when she sees him with like Yuri and thinking that she's so much better and whatever. Okay, good, because I'd never do anything to hurt you. I've been such an idiot. No! Oh my god, what a surprise! I think I'm gonna have a heart attack because of that surprise right now. Okay, well. Yeah, my melodrama aside, understatement of the year. He just makes me so... He makes my blood boil sometimes. And it's even more shameful because I've given him my name. Okay, well. Yuri has just been feeling really lonely recently. See, you could have at least said that. Or something to that effect. I briefly fill Sayori in on what Yuri told me yesterday. I'm not entirely sure if I should be telling her this, but at this point in time, I'm much more concerned with complete clarity between Sayori and I. Well, at the very least, I don't know, maybe just say to keep it hush-hush on the down low. Oh, so that's why. It makes a lot of sense thinking about it. Although I can't help but think... She looks down at the ground again, nervously biting her lip. I can't help but feel that Yuri likes you, Daniel. Why? She thinks I'm scary looking. Or... No, wait, that's exit music, Yuri. This is what happens when I start playing two different mods at the same time. Well, anyways... So then, is Yuri really gonna be like a love rival in this case? Really? You can be really dense sometimes. Okay, forget what I said before. This is the understatement of the year. There's a sad playfulness to her tone. Yes, really. She's trying to spend more time with you. She really appreciates your company. It's subtle, but I can tell by the way she looks at you. I think she gets attached really quickly. Oh my god, she's turning into exit music Yuri. Well, I hope she doesn't go to the extreme like exit music Yuri. But she said she knew we were together and didn't want to intrude on that or anything. Well... I guess... On the one hand, you can argue that, yeah, maybe she is telling the truth. But on the other hand, you can argue, maybe she's just saying that and she's secretly hoping for this relationship to fail. That way she can just swoop right in and kind of go for the rebound. And the worst case scenario. Sayori? Maybe I was right then. No. About what? About me dragging you down. No. What can I give you that Yuri can't? Oh god, well... You said it yourself. She's lonely, and if she was with you, then she'd be happy. She's smart, she's really pretty, she's elegant. And what am I? I'm just an airhead. I can't even find the time to get ready in the morning. I'm just a dead weight to you. You're so much more than that, Sayori. Even if Yuri was the most desirable girl on the planet, I wouldn't give a damn because you're the only person I want. You know something? When I was walking with Yuri yesterday, I couldn't help but wish that it was you I was with. It was the only time we didn't walk together, but one time is all I needed to realize how much I enjoy walking home with you. So what if you can't find the time to get ready in the morning? I don't care. You're still beautiful, even when you don't try. Aw, Daniel. You're just saying that, though. No, I'm not. I'm speaking from the heart. I swear on my life that I'm being 100% genuine. These are the things I've always wanted to say to you, but I've never really known how. And that's not all. I wake up every day and I feel so goddamn lucky knowing that you're my girlfriend. You've always been there for me when I needed it most. I don't think I've ever told you how happy you make me. I pull her close for a kiss. She clings to me, and I can sense the urgency in her to touch. It's impossible to describe how it feels to hold her in this moment of vulnerability. I don't really care about how elegant Yuri is, if I'm being honest. That's her. Who she is. I much prefer your quirkiness and how silly we can be together. We have that link that no other girl in this world can say they have. We really do have that history together, don't we? A history that I'd never trade for anything. Daniel? Mm-hmm. Please don't leave me. Yeah. In a sense, to me, it's almost like Maddie all over again, to some extent. Well, not entirely, but like I said, I'm getting little bits and flashbacks here, where it's basically I'm in Sayori's place right now. As well as, it's weird in the sense Sayori's kind of like, she reminds me of a certain aspect of myself as well as my friend Maggie, as I mentioned earlier. Not to be confused with Maddie. Yeah, I know. And I know I'm being selfish for asking that. You're not. It's still so confusing. But when I'm with you, I feel warm inside. And I think that, well, just for a moment, that maybe everything will be okay. I can't really understand why you care so much about me. But I'll trust you. I'm glad, Sayori. I really am. But if I'm being honest, she looks up at me. We can't do this alone. Are we gonna fight her depression? Well, I don't even know what the better word for it would be. I think we should look into getting you some therapy. Yeah, more or less. If we're looking at it broadly. She looks away. I'll obviously always be here for you, but I'm just a normal teenage guy. There's only so much I can do. I don't know. Why not? It's just a really scary thought. I don't want to go through all that false hope again. Again? You mean... I guess it's possible that her parents did try this before. Okay, yeah, there we go. I've tried therapy and antidepressants before, Daniel. Back when I was first diagnosed with depression. Everyone told me it would work. They told me that I would feel okay again. But that never happened. I was much younger back then, and everything was a million times scarier and more confusing. All of those tests, all of the questions, the drugs. I didn't know what was wrong with me. The whole thing was terrifying. What I'd give to be a medical professional right now. Wow, Sayori, I had no idea. I wouldn't have expected you to have known. Would you believe me if I said... would you believe me if I said things would be different this time around? And how would you know that? I wouldn't, at least for sure. But if we leave this unchecked, how would things ever change? I know it must be really hard for you. Believe me, I can only imagine what you're going through. And I totally get why you'd be reluctant to try it again. But I promise you that this time I'll be here. You wouldn't have to go through all of it alone. I squeeze her hand. Well... We'll get through it together, remember? But what if it doesn't work again? We'll find another doctor or another therapist until it does then. We gotta keep on trying, I guess is his logic. It's not going to be that easy, though. Yeah, it's not. I've had a lot of... In my time, I've had a lot of therapists and whatever. A lot of them that have just spouted a lot of nonsense, a lot of them that have kind of tried to run the show and tell me how I should think and feel. point being, yes, it's not easy. You may have to go through so many doctors and therapists until you find one that actually works for you. Otherwise, yeah, but it's going to be discouraging, so you may even want to give up after a while. But the key to that would be perseverance, and how much you do want to change. Otherwise, then, you give it up, and then you end up sinking back deeper into that pit of despair. In a metaphorical sense. I know, but I'm never gonna give up on you, so I don't care how long it takes. You're so selfless in how much you care for other people's happiness, but I want you to be happy. Do I really deserve that, though? That's the depression talking again. If other people deserve happiness, why don't you, Sayori? Just ask yourself that. Please? For me? Okay, for you. It feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Finally, I feel like I'm not alone in trying to help Sayori anymore. I know that it must have been a really difficult thing to agree to. I'm really proud of you. You're much braver than you realize. Although, I haven't been too pushy or anything, have I? I want to encourage you, not force you. Yeah, it's one thing to be encouraging to someone, but it's another to be forcing them, like literally dragging them to a therapist's office and whatnot. Again, figuratively speaking, of course. It's something that I would have had to try sooner or later, I guess. While there's always the chance that therapy might fail again, it's also the only way I could potentially get better. Yeah, that's the way to look at it there. See? That's the spirit. Okay, fine. That's the spirit. She doesn't look wholly convinced, but smiles anyway. You just gotta keep telling yourself that. You need to do this to get better. No matter how many attempts it takes. No matter what it takes. I'll do it for you, Daniel. No, do it for yourself. Because you need this. I'm not going to hold my breath, but if it makes you happy, I'll give it a try. That's all I can ask for right now. It means a lot to me that you'd be willing to try again. Well, let's hope it works out a little better. Anyway, I'll talk to my doctor tomorrow. Sounds like a plan. Let me know how it goes. Okay, nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Yeah, so now we're kind of getting somewhere. Before I know it, the weekend has already arrived. It's been a few days since Sayori agreed to give therapy a try. With a slight nudge from me, she spoke to her doctor, who managed to arrange for her first therapy session tomorrow. Okay, let's see. Alright, so her first therapy session is coming up then. Alright, well, let's see how that goes for her. As relieved as I am with how well things are being handled, I'm still fairly apprehensive. And I suppose rightfully so. Seeing how pervasive her condition is, interfering with her ability to get homework done, twisting her self-perception. I can't lie, it's been daunting. I guess seeing firsthand the crippling effects of depression on my best friend has been quite the shock to my system. A part of me can't help but worry that somehow me getting involved was the wrong move. I would like to think otherwise, but I can imagine that the bad ending is going to prove me wrong. Am I making things worse by making her think it's her fault that I'm so concerned for her? Wait, what? Is that really what does she think that it's her fault? Well, okay, yeah, I don't know how else to approach that. Well, I guess if she really does think it's her fault that he's so concerned, then perhaps in the worst case scenario, it is gonna feed into her depression more. I can't shake off this horrible foreboding feeling that I'm getting into something that's way more serious than I can imagine. Am I really helping her, or am I just more emotional baggage for her to heft? No, Daniel, don't let your irrational fears get the better of you. Not now. Let's look at the positives. She's already agreed to seek help. That's the first step of recovery, right? Well, the first step is admitting you have a problem. Then you seek help. Yeah, that's true. Kind of. You're half right. Geez, why do I have to stress over everything? Just like me! Being with Sayori makes my day brighter, no matter the situation. We care about each other in a way that nobody can understand, and we've always been there for each other. It's best to focus on that, and stop worrying about what could go wrong. Because it hasn't gone wrong yet. If I'm constantly focusing on the negatives, well, that's no good for anyone. Stay positive. Optimistic outlook, Daniel. Optimistic outlook. After completing my morning routine, I find myself sitting at the kitchen table, pondering on the different ways I could spend the day. One of the drawbacks of being in your first relationship is that you're not quite sure what you're meant to do with your partner. It's too cold to spend any significant amount of time outdoors, so we're basically limited to the indoors. Yeah, unless you want to be freezing outside in the park or whatever, yeah. I look down at my watch, 10:14 a.m. Pretty early. Sayori probably isn't even awake yet. As my gaze idly settles on the used plates in front of me, an idea hits me. Oh, Sayori would love this. Washing dishes? About half an hour later, my little surprise is ready and carefully placed into a bag. I was gonna say, what is it, but then, okay fine, it's a surprise. I saunter over to her room with the hopes that she's still sound asleep. Wait, what? Okay, he apparently magically teleported to her house. I don't know. Well, obviously not, but it's still kind of weird, like, wait, how did you get from your house to... I just sauntered over to her room. Like, seriously? Just as I had hoped, she's still fast asleep. No surprise, given it's not even 11 yet. As I silently make my approach, I'm struck by how cute she looks when she's sleeping. Wait, that didn't sound super creepy, did it? You sound just like Tharja. I mentally chastise myself. Stop being such a weirdo, Daniel. Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know. But the way she's curled up into a ball... You can't be like stupid sexy Tharja. Even with her hair being a mess, and a slight trickle of drool leaking from her mouth, she's perfect. I don't think there's any way that this girl could ever look anything less than beautiful. The light sounds of her snoring turn my smile into a heartfelt grin. Setting down my bag, I quietly walk over to her and gently brush a lock of her hair that's fallen into her open mouth. She coos slightly as my hand brushes against her forehead. Wakey wakey, sleepyhead. No, not night-night, crazy guy. 5 more minutes. I made you breakfast. He said the magic words. Okay. She groggily sits up and rubs her eyes, hugging the blanket closer to her. You didn't have to, Daniel. But I wanted to. I can't help but feel disappointed and slightly irritated by her reaction. Oh no. Okay, I think I'm starting to get an idea of how this could go bad. Just by this word here alone. I was really looking forward to seeing how exuberant she'd be. What time is it? Like 11? Yawning, she pushes the cover off and sits up. She still looks quite tired. She gingerly opens the bag and forces a smile onto her face. You can thank your dear Sunshine poem for inspiration, especially that last line. I want breakfast. God, I'm so selfish. I have such a thoughtful boyfriend who's been super considerate and made me breakfast in bed, and I can't even thank you properly. You went through all of this just for me. Anyone else would be really appreciative, and here I am, complaining that you're here. Huh? No, it's not like that at all. I mean, yeah, I was hoping you'd be a bit happier to see me, but, well, it's kind of on me for forgetting how difficult mornings can be for you. Don't worry about it. I can tell that my words haven't convinced her in the slightest. And I don't get the feeling that you don't want me here. Relax. Relax. Don't do it. She slowly starts chewing on the food. This is really good. It's pretty basic stuff. It would be difficult for me to manage to screw that up. But I'm glad you like it. Natsuki's cooking has nothing on me, as you can see. How is it that you can make me laugh even when it's the last thing I want to do? Magic, I think. Magic! Because magic is everything! Maybe I was a comedian in my past life. It's a question that science has been trying to answer for the past 100 or so years. By the way, can't we just have a lazy day today? Today I don't feel like doing anything. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't really feel like going outside or anything. Fine by me. After she finished eating, we made our way back to my house. I'm sorry, I'm just not used to saying, like, mine, as in, like, my what. And, well, Exit Music Redo has that as well. We've pretty much resumed our standard activity of cuddling on the sofa. Are we going to be watching anything? Maybe my earlier worries were unfounded after all. We're both content in just being in each other's presence, regardless of the activity. That's the most important thing about a date, though. The idea that you're in each other's presence. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you should totally skip out on all that, but at least as long as you have that kind of time together to build all that up and strengthen your relationship, well, I would like to think that it would be fine. But still, I mean, every once in a while you should at least treat her and wine and dine her to remind her how special you think she is. And remind her that, hey, you're worth it to me. I'm aimlessly flicking through the movie channel on TV. Okay, well, at least they are. Oh, hello. I whip out my phone. Oh god, no! Seriously? It's happening. Hi, Daniel. What's up? Not much. Yuri, this is the wrong universe. I dated you in another timeline. Yuri carries on typing, and she's taking an awful long time to reply. I get the feeling she's plucking up the courage to ask me something. I bet she is. Well, I was wondering... Go on. Would you like to discuss the book with me today? What book? Oh, right, the Not It by Not Stephen King. I haven't read much of it, to be honest. I think the movie version is on Netflix, though. Hang on, let me check. But Sayori's with you. What's up? Oh, you know that book Yuri lent me? Stop! I'm checking to see if it's on Netflix. We're gonna have a horror night? You see, now she's getting the wrong idea here. Well, I told Yuri that I'd let her know what my thoughts on the... I told Yuri I'd let her know my thoughts on the book with her, but I haven't really read enough of it to really discuss it. So I'm gonna cheat the system and see if there's a movie. That way I can watch the movie instead. But if I find it on Netflix, then I thought we could all watch it together instead. Help, I'm stupid and I can't shut up. Oh, here it is. See, that's not what she wanted, and essentially now that you're kind of inviting Yuri over, in a sense, well, just mentioning her name and whatever, you're just kind of intruding on that alone time that you've had. Oh. Are you okay with it? She's not gonna say, no, I'm not. I'm pretty sure. Of course. Translation. I'm not, but you're a big stupid dumbhead who can't realize my feelings. I'd be a terrible friend if I stopped her from coming over. Other people are out there having tough times too. True, but still, Man, I really wish I could know what she's thinking. She shifts her attention to the television, a wan smile on her face. Okay, I figured that if you were here too, you wouldn't feel like I was, I don't know, leaving you out or anything. It's fine, Daniel. Dear God, that clown looks even uglier on the big screen. I've never liked clowns. Then you probably hate McDonald's, or WickDonald's. Good news, I found it. You can come over. Sayori is here too, by the way. Are you sure that I wouldn't be interrupting anything? You would be, but he's not gonna say, oh yes you are. Nah, she said she's fine with it. It's all good. Ugh. Well, one text later and Yuri is eagerly awaiting outside my door, book in hand. Hey Yuri, come on in. Sayori's in the living room. Good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you for suggesting this, by the way. I haven't seen the movie version yet. Okay, well, the funny lady is here now. Yeah, neither have we. Sayori isn't into that stuff, though. What is wrong with you? Should be interesting. Well, I don't know. Hey, Yuri! Yuri smiles in greeting. I've heard good things about the film adaptation, so I'm hopeful that this will be enjoyable. Only one way to find out. 3 hours later. As predicted, Sayori is a massive chicken, jumping at every loud noise and suspenseful scene. I'm telling you. On the other hand, Yuri seems totally engrossed in the movie, never once looking away during an ominous scene. For the most part, it's difficult to read her face as she remains fairly impassive. Although a look of wonder and interest occasionally flickers across her face, especially when the monster is on screen. It's definitely one of the better horror movies I've watched. Granted, that isn't saying much, as I haven't seen too many. I have to admit, the acting in this film really sells it. Both the clown and the young kids who serve as the protagonists are brought to life really well. Oh no, please don't tell me they're going to go in that creepy building. Of course they are. And they're not going to go into the running car and get out of there either. Because that would be too obvious. Ah! Why would you go in there? It's just a nightmare waiting to happen. She ducks behind a cushion, only peeping out intermittently. Something she took to doing once the clown was first introduced. I laugh and pull her closer. She cuddles into my shoulder, turning her face so she can see me. So she can still see me. Out of the corner of my eye, I catch Yuri quickly throwing us a glance. From my periphery vision, it's hard to tell, but she looks a little sad. Because she wants to be Sayori cuddling up to you. I grimace a little. Clearly I forgot how isolated Yuri feels at home. Watching Sayori and I cuddle is probably a painful reminder. Possibly, but I still err on the side that maybe she is, perhaps, wanting to... She likes you, okay, and seeing you with another woman is like a dagger in her heart. especially if Sayori's prediction about how Yuri feels about me is true. I'm pretty sure it is at this point. About an hour or so later, the movie's over. It's been really interesting to hear Yuri's thoughts, not just on the movie, but on the horror genre on the whole. And that's something I admire about both the books and the book and the movie, how both approach and present the main theme of fear. A lot of film adaptations of books tend to over-sensualize the content, and many horror movies rely on cheap jump scares to elicit a reaction. Of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with a jump scare, but I find the best horror tends to really get under your skin and makes you think. Well, after you've finished. Yeah, I agree. Jump scares just annoy me, really. They startle you, sure, and build-up can be intense. And the build-up can be intense. Or can be tense. But from what I've seen, horror movies make it really obvious when one's coming up. The music goes really quiet or really spooky, and the character is in a dark place. Indeed. Sadly, it's quite the common occurrence with modern horror. There's not much left to your imagination. It's as if the movie is telling you, okay guys, it's almost time to be scared. Are you ready? I can't help but notice Sayori's been very quiet throughout the discussion Yuri and I are having. Yes, because she probably has nothing much to contribute to this. Because it's not a subject she's really all that knowledgeable about or interested in. You okay, Yuri? I don't really have much to say. See? You two carry on, I'm fine. She's looking absent-mindedly at the screen. It's unfortunate that the second part of the movie isn't out yet. It's like being able to only read half of the book. The second part is about how the creature comes back to fight the clown when they're adults, right? The characters come back to fight the clown when they're adults, right? Indeed. And that's where the plot really shines. Anyway, I have some errands to be getting on with, so I'm going to have to leave. Thank you both, by the way. I really appreciate it. That's okay, Yuri. I hope you're feeling better. Yuri turns to me. Oh, did you tell her? What? My face grows hot. In my haste to reassure Sayori that nothing was going on between Yuri and I totally forgot that Yuri's confession was likely confidential. Oh damn. Yeah, I did. Sorry, Yuri. I didn't think. You never think! And when you do, it concerns me. Didn't realize it was private. It's okay. I suppose it's only fair that there's clarity between two people in a relationship. Yes. Otherwise, it's gonna look downright suspicious. Ooh, I'm glad that Yuri is so understanding. Anyway, I'll see you two on Monday. Goodbye. See ya. Bye, Yuri. As Yuri leaves, I turn to Sayori. She's looking a little rueful. I hope you were right about therapy, Daniel. I'm dreading tomorrow. It's going to be just fine, don't worry. I hope so. I should probably get going as well. I'll see you tomorrow. And with a wave, she departs as well. And nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Okay, well I guess now we're just waiting for the therapy session. And we have this sad, dreary music playing. As my eyes slowly open, I can't help but feel nervous about how today will go. I can only imagine how nervous Sayori is. It's such a big step for her too. I just hope it goes well. After hopping out of bed, I start my morning routine, trying to think of a good way to keep me occupied until her session is over. As I'm trying to distract myself on my computer, my mind wanders over to how Sayori must be doing right now. As I've never needed it myself, I have absolutely no clue what therapy's like. I feel a little uneasy. A given, seeing as I'm putting all of my faith in someone I've never met before. So much uncertainty. Still so much I don't know about her depression. With a pang of guilt, I remember how there were a few years where we didn't talk at all. And those were the years where she probably needed me the most. Ugh. I wearily rubbed my face, growing even more impatient for her session to end. The doorbell rings, and upon opening the front door, I'm greeted with Sayori, a look of certainty and nervousness plastered on her face. After a quick kiss, I eagerly lead her back to the sofa. I don't want to be too pushy, but I can't really stand the wait any longer. So, how did it all go? It was okay, I guess. She doesn't elaborate, so I try a different angle. Well, what's the therapist like? They any good? Or are they a quack? Yeah, I guess he's alright. His name is Dr. Satoshi. He's patient, and he was pretty gentle. That's great news. I heave a sigh of relief. This was precisely the kind of description I was hoping to hear. Well, let's just hope she's not exaggerating. She smiles wanly. Yeah, he's definitely better than the last one I had. Not that that's saying much. But hey, let's focus on the present, eh? I nudge her, trying to maintain my facade of positivity. On the inside, however, I'm just as nervous and worried as she is. Are you sure about that comparison? Yeah. She trails off into silence. Normally I'd press it, but I figure she has a lot on her mind after the session. Hey, Sayori. Yeah? Why don't we play something? We don't have enough people for a board game, though. No, I don't mean board games. Remember when we used to play video games together when we were kids? I've always found video games as a really good way to escape reality. Last year, when I was really lonely, I found it helped to take my mind off things. Plus, there's some games I think that you might enjoy. She sits up, looking very grateful that I decided not to push her mood. Yeah, that could be fun. What were you thinking of? As it turns out, I still have some of those games we used to play. Do you remember Banjo-Kazooie? The one that came up in the game of Trivial Pursuit? Didn't I have a question on that when we played Trivial Pursuit? Exactly. Yep, that's the one. Let's give it a whirl. As I was hoping, the game has proven to be a wonderful way to get her mind off therapy. She's truly lost in the colorful, immersive world, with her face scrunched up in determination. At first, she wasn't very good at the game, struggling with the controls, getting lost and generally being unsure of what she's meant to do. Although after a few pointers from me, she really started to pick it up and was soon getting the hang of it. Sayori can be really good when she puts her mind... Sayori can be really good at things when she puts her mind to it. It's almost uncanny how skilled she can be, especially as it contrasts against the airheaded vibe she can give off. Aha! I knew I'd find the jigsaw piece there! I laugh. It looks like she's having a great time, and it's heartwarming to see her so happy. Even if it's just over a video game, nothing will ever beat seeing Sayori smiling. No, it will not. This smile is a treasure. You'll never know just how cute you are, Sayori. Huh? Just seeing you happy makes me so happy. So happy. And I swear nothing will ever change that. Aww. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but where did all of this come from? Truth be told, I'm not exactly sure. Part of me thinks it's my guilty conscience. In some strange way, I guess I'm trying to compensate for that huge gap in our friendship history. What if we had never drifted apart? Could things have been a lot different? would I still be trying to help her through her depression?
Daniel? Are you there? You're looking kind of sad. What's up?
Her bright smile does nothing for my guilt. I'm sorry, Sayori.
What are you sorry for, silly?
We've only properly begun to hang out not too long ago, right? Since September?
Yeah?
She pauses the game and sets the controller down, sensing the urgency in the situation. And you've been depressed for a long time. But I wasn't there for you. We drifted apart, all because... Because of what? Because I was an idiot who prioritized gaming and anime over my best friend? Or because I was an idiot who prioritized gaming and anime over my best friend. I can't even imagine how hard things were for you when we weren't really talking.
Daniel, none of that is your fault.
She gently takes my hands in hers. And part of me thinks that, well, had I made more of an effort with you back then, perhaps
us drifting apart didn't cause me to be depressed, Daniel. Truthfully, I don't really know why I developed depression. There's a lot I don't know about my condition, but one thing I know is that it doesn't really need a reason.
Oftentimes, it can literally just happen.
That's what my doctor said last time I tried therapy. So please, don't ever think that you somehow contributed to my depression, okay? You're like the polar opposite. When I'm with you, I'm happy. You make me feel like I'm actually worth something, even though my brain tries really hard to tell me that you're lying.
You see, how did he put it? That it's twisted her self-perception? Exactly, so her mind is trying to convince her that everything good that he's doing for her, that she's apparently not worth it. Yeah, but that's in the present. What about in the past? When there were years where we didn't hang out at all?
I actually had this conversation with Monica once. It's normal for friendships to be like that, I think. You can go a long time without talking to someone, but if you reconnect with them, and you can both get along as if nothing ever happened, did anything really change?
I pause upon hearing those words. I guess she does have a point, but I'm finding it hard to internalize. I think he even said something to that effect, too. She reaches forward and strokes my face, gently lifting my chin up so we maintain eye contact.
The way I see it, we get along just as well now as we did when we were kids. Besides, what happened in the past was the past.
Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone.
If anything, the time apart made me appreciate the time I do spend with you even more.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, Sayori. I really am. It's just, well, you going to therapy today made me realize the reality of depression, and it made me reflect on how much I've been absent in your life. I didn't mean to spring this on you out of the blue like that. Especially when you wanted to take your mind off therapy. It was pretty inconsiderate of me.
It's okay. It really is. I'm just glad that we can talk these things out, you know? You've been really patient with me, so it's the least I can do for you. And I'd much rather we talked about whatever bothers you than you bottling it up.
I forgot whatever video I said, but yeah, don't bottle your feelings up. It's unhealthy for you. Trust me. I know firsthand.
After all, bottles are meant to be shared, right?
Happy thoughts. I can't help but laugh. That was clever. If you say so.
I do. Seriously, Daniel, don't blame yourself for anything, okay? I've been much happier ever since you came back into my life. I had gone so many years thinking that this was something I'd have to bear alone. But I have to admit that it's nice not having to go through this by myself.
She squeezes my hand.
Besides, we can't really change the past, can we?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You really do have such a big heart, you know that? Nothing ever changed with you.
And that's never going to change. It's moments like these that really bring a warm, fuzzy feeling inside of me. I've never felt anything like this before, but it feels so right.
Now, I think we have some jigsaws to collect, don't you think?
Of course. Let's get back to the game, shall we? She reaches for the controller and starts playing once more. Within moments, we're whisked away into a world of childhood memories. The feel of her warmth in my arms, the sound of her innocent laughter, and the smell of her hair. That little voice of guilt remains, but it's now easier to ignore it. Before we know it, the later hours of the evening have arrived. Man, time really flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? It sure does. But wait a minute, we still didn't get the Crystal Jiggy, the Green Egg, or the Payback DVD. Especially when you're gaming, I can't remember the amount of times I've lost track of time during a hardcore gaming session, especially a session that goes well into the night. Sayori stands up, yawning and stretching as she does so.
Wow, it's super late already. And tomorrow's a school day as well.
Oh no.
No fun.
Tell me about it. Monday mornings are the absolute worst. Not even Sakurai can save them.
I just want another break.
We just had our Christmas one.
I know.
What's the next one? Spring break. You know, I don't think do they even have spring break? They've never once mentioned it in any of the other routes. We had Valentine's Day, we had White Day. Yeah, I can't remember anything else.
Oh well. Anyway, I should get going.
Aw, leaving so soon? My attempt at pulling Poppy Dog eyes causes her to laugh and shake her head.
But it's late!
I reach toward her and pull her into an embrace. In a playful attempt to stop her from leaving, I push her back down onto the sofa, wrapping my arms tightly around her body. Mwahaha! You fall into my grand trap! So, Princess Vespa, at last I have you in my clutches, to have my way with you, the way I want to.
No, leave me alone!
No, kiss me! Okay, no. Now there's no escape.
Ugh, I hate you! And yet, I find you strangely attractive.
Haha, Jewish princesses often are attracted to money and power, and I have both, and you know it. Okay.
Ah! You've got me! Whatever can I do?
Nothing. My master plan is absolutely foolproof. Okay, I'm still doing the fake Transylvanian dark helmet voice. Well, let's see, well, you're the fool, or she has the proof to make you look like a fool.
Is it Sayori proof?
Uh-huh, you see? She has the proof to make you the fool. What do you... Her lips meet mine and immediately I'm taken away into another world. Man, it's almost scary how powerful the sensation is whenever we kiss. No fair. You cheated.
Are you complaining?
You shouldn't be.
If you'd prefer, I could just...
Her tone is innocent and playful.
Not kiss you again?
The wink. Hey, I didn't say that! Okay. You win. But there's one thing you didn't prepare for.
Oh? And what could that be?
I quickly boop her on the nose. Boop. He actually said it.
Ah! Surprise sneaky boops aren't allowed.
Oh, but surprise sneaky kisses are?
You had me trapped, It was just self-defense.
Okay, well, never mind. So was my boop. What?
This isn't over, meanie.
Looking forward to our rematch, then. I reach over and check my phone. It's almost midnight. Oh, jeez. Man. As much as I hate to admit it, we should probably call it a day. Although, having said that, an idea just popped into my mind. Oh no, he's thinking again. Okay, Sayori. How about... Okay, let's see here. Okay, if I'm looking at my notes for the good ending... Offer Sayori to stay the night. Okay, in that case, since as much as I'm going to hate myself eventually, I am going to... Let's see here. Walk Sayori home. Okay, well. So that's apparently one of the 4 choices I have here. Although, yeah, so far they're happening out of order, but then, well, this is just me writing off of a bunch of different YouTube comments, so... So if you want the good ending, ask her to stay the night. However, since, as much as I hate myself for having a completionist sort of attitude, I'm going to just walk her home to get the bad ending out of the way. But then I swear I'm going to give this girl the happy ending she deserves. You have my word.
I'll walk you home. Aren't you the gentleman?
Okay. Oh wow. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Sayori. Sweet dreams. I kissed her goodnight and turn around to leave.
Daniel?
Yeah?
Can you stay with me?
Overnight?
Yeah. If that's okay.
Of course it is. Thinking about it, I'd also get to make us breakfast in the morning. Oh boy, I'll get to be a really good husband. Well, okay, we're not at that point yet.
I'd like that.
I'm a good husband. Okay, as I mentally survey the room, I'm struck by how messy it is. To think that I never knew about her depression, to think that before I knew about her depression, I just thought she was too lazy to clean everything up. How little I knew back then. Yep, things are different now.
So which side of the bed do you want?
Can we both fit on it?
I don't know, to be honest. I've never slept with someone before.
I don't want to say that. You see, that's why I don't want to say that. I mean, I know what she means, but... There's an awkward silence for a second, made slightly comical by the fact Sayori hadn't realized the implication of her words. Typical. Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out. No! After completing my bedtime preparations, I wearily slide into bed, thinking about the conversations that took place today. There's been a lot to take in, I suppose. Thinking about it, today could have gone a lot worse. I just hope that doesn't change. The bedroom door opens to reveal a sleepy-looking Sayori in her pajamas. As Sayori approaches the bed, I can't help but notice how nice her legs look in those shorts. Oh... Okay, well... Where is this going? Won't you be cold in those pajamas?
Nope. I have you to warm me up, remember?
I'm suddenly very grateful that I have the blanket covering my... She slides in next to me, pulling the blanket over herself. Slowly she inches over to me and positions herself so that the top of her head lies just below my chin. Resting her head on my chest, she looks up at me, was in for a quick kiss and giggles. At such proximity, I can hear her heartbeat. Her hands feel soft and warm against the fabric of my shirt. She's incredibly warm, but it isn't overbearing in the slightest. On instinct, I wrap my arm around her body and rest my face atop her hair. Good night, Sayori. I plant a kiss on her forehead.
Good night, Daniel.
Okay, and well, I guess nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Meaning there's nothing happening that I need to cut out of the video. Because yes, apparently this and Yuri's route do involve some stuff that you can't show. And oh great! What do I have greeting me now? Suddenly I'm pulled out of my sleep by what appears to be sobbing. As I slowly fight the grogginess, I'm also aware of a slight dampness on my chest. I hate it when Sayori has a nightmare. The feeling of powerlessness, the sound of her tears, the look of anguish on her face. It always hits hard.
Why can't you hear me? I need you. Come back. Please come back.
Sayori? I gently shake her. Shh, Sayori, it's okay. I'm here, it's okay. I hold her as she carries on whimpering. She clings to me even harder, shaking with fear. I can only imagine what's going on inside her head. I fumble for my phone. The blinding glare tells me that it's 7:01.
Daniel?
It's me, Sayori. You were just having a nightmare. Don't worry, I've got you. I stroke her hair softly as her crying subsides.
That was horrible.
What happened? She takes a deep breath and composes herself.
Everything was so dark. You, Yuri, Monica, Natsuki, you were all there. But whenever I tried to talk to you, it was like there was an invisible bubble around me. None of you could hear me, but there was this shadowy figure that kept talking to me.
Fresh tears fill her eyes once more.
And it kept saying horrible, horrible things. It told me that I was useless, and that everyone would be so much better off if I wasn't around.
Yeah. That really is what depression is like sometimes. Except, well, I guess I didn't really have nightmares like this, but I'd always have a voice telling me that I was just nothing but baggage to people. That I was just holding them back. That they didn't really want me around. And if that they were only having me around, it was only out of obligation or pity. So, yeah. Depression is also a subject I don't take very lightly, as you can guess from pretty much the whole theme of these videos.
That you'd be much happier with Yuri. And the therapy is pointless, and I'm just fighting a losing battle. It's nothing more than false hope, no matter how hard I try to believe otherwise.
She snuffles.
I tried calling out to you, to the girls, to anyone. But it was just me and the voice, tormenting me, telling me everything that I've been trying so hard not to believe. I've been trying so... Okay, well, I don't know what this sentence is supposed to say. Everything that I've been trying to believe so hard, and... I'm guessing the voice is just telling her that everything that she's been trying so hard to believe is nothing but lies. But it felt so real, Daniel. So real. Just when I thought things might have a chance of being okay again. I hate this. Why can't I just be normal? and it's already 7. Ugh. I'm sorry, Daniel. I just can't go to school today.
You know, when I think about it, how would this have played out? Oh, well, now that I think about it, no matter what, she still would have been with him if I had told her to stay the night. But I still wonder, how would this have played out? Similar or differently? It's okay. I won't go either.
Uh-huh? But what about...
I couldn't care less about that. There's no way in hell that I'm just gonna leave you alone after the night you've had. I can miss the odd day of school, it's fine. Trust me. She opens her mouth to protest, but upon seeing the steely resolution on my face, she reluctantly obeys. I'll get you some water. Be back in a second. After several hugs, a few attempts at reassurance, and a cup of hot chocolate, Sayori has managed to calm down. The mood is still rather somber. She's staring at the ground with a look of vacancy on her face.
I don't know why I'm like this, Daniel. Why is it that something as stupid as a little nightmare makes me feel this bad? I was hoping that finally there was a light at the end of the tunnel. But that was just naive of me, wasn't it? It's okay. You don't have to say anything, Daniel. I know you might feel like you have to acknowledge, or you might have to say some magical words to make me feel better, but all you have to do is listen.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's all you can do. Same way I wanted to help Maggie with her depression. I wanted to help her, but, well, at least in return, I'd be up with her in the late hours for her, just messaging her and trying to comfort her and make her laugh. And yeah, I guess you can tell that in some ways I still do. I still think about Maggie, and well, I mean, she was one of my best friends, and I cared so much about her. And yeah, I just hope that wherever she is, she's doing okay. She was always so fun to talk to as well, and so when I found out that she had to deal with depression herself, it just made me feel like, well, it just made me question things, like, how could this beautiful, adorable girl be going through something so terrible? So in a way, I guess you could say I've been on both ends here. I've been through my depression, while I've also felt powerless in seeing Maggie go through her depression.
What really hurt me was that voice telling me that you'd be much better off with Yuri as your girlfriend. I'm trying really hard to believe that I'm a good girlfriend, and that I'm worth your time, but...
A part of me almost feels differently now, after the Yuri route. Like, it almost makes me wonder what was going on through her head through that whole thing. Well, I guess through either of the two routes, Natsuki or Yuri. I don't know. Well, I suppose I guess you could think of it as it's a blessing that I got through those two routes first. Otherwise, if I played this first and then the other two, I'd be feeling like a jerk. Knowing that she's here suffering, thinking all these things, and then to basically kind of be dating someone in front of her, and... well, I don't know.
Those doubts are always there, in the back of my mind. I know you'd never break my trust, but I just wish I could convince my stupid brain to see it that way. It's so unfair on you. And I'm just so scared that it might all be for nothing.
What do you mean?
Well, what if I never get better? What if I'm always going to be like this? My pieces are all broken. You're trying so hard to put them back together, but what if you can't? What if you can't put them together because some of them are gone?
You know, I think one thing I learned in my sort of therapy sessions, anxiety is brought on by two words: what if? And case in point, what if I never get better? What if I'm always going to be like this? What if you can't put my pieces back together? So, well, I guess, in a sense, anxiety and depression can kind of go hand in hand. I have very bad anxiety as well, and so did my mother. Like, sometimes I remember, sometimes we'd go out to a restaurant, we'd be sitting down, we'd be eating, and then one time I remember specifically was she started kind of shaking, and then she just put down her food and she told me to just stay where I was, and just to keep eating, and that she'd be in the car when I was ready. And then when I actually finished eating and I got back to the car, well, I didn't really understand what was going on. I was just confused, but I did what she told me. I always did what she told me to do. I got into the car and she was crying, and I just couldn't understand why. It just bothered me and disturbed me so much. That's what anxiety can do to you. Thankfully, my anxiety has never gotten to that point, but there have been some close calls. One time I even ended up in the hospital because of a panic attack. So, honestly, depression and anxiety, they are terrible together. And they are no laughing matter. It pretty much ruined my mom's social life, and it landed me in the hospital, so... Anyways, I don't have an answer for that.
I hate feeling like this.
It's an awful feeling, to be sure. And I guess in some cases, well, really in most cases, you don't really know what it's like until you have to go through it yourself. And, well, I would like to hope that no one else has to go through anything like this. Especially when I do think back to my mom and when I found her crying in the car. Back then, I didn't quite understand it. Until she finally eventually just kind of told me what was the deal here, and I understood. She had so much stress and anxiety, especially when, from the job that she had worked for 20 years. Her doctor even told her something to the effect of, that job is killing you. You can't keep doing this. The stress is going to get you. And, well, from then on, I kind of became a little more understanding about my mom's condition, especially when it was eventually just the two of us. She didn't have anyone else, it was just me and her. So I always did my best to look out for her. And, well, likewise it also pained me to see her feeling so depressed and just not like herself anymore. So it's very hard, whether you're going through depression or somebody who means the world to you is going through depression. It's difficult. It's difficult for everybody. Especially because, in some cases, if not most, you almost feel powerless because you don't know what to do. Whether you're the one being depressed or you're watching someone, you want to break out of it, but it's not like you can snap your fingers and then everything's all sugar-coated rainbows and lollipops. So, exactly.
Feeling like I've lost something that I'll never get back, no matter how good your support or how well therapy goes. I can't remember the last time I wasn't so tired, Daniel. That's the worst part about depression. The exhaustion that never goes away.
The exhaustion that just takes away your motivation, your drive to even get out of bed in the morning.
An exhaustion that sleep can never fix. The only good thing about sleep is that it's an escape from my mind, at least for a few hours.
Not including the nightmares, I suppose.
Well, when I don't have nightmares.
That answers my question, then.
And I'm just so tired of it all.
Tears start leaking down on her face once more. Her face looks utterly resigned.
I wish that I could just wake up one day and actually have hope.
She faces me with a sad smile. Her cheeks glisten with tears.
Actual, genuine hope. A hope that maybe, just maybe, things might be okay. Just when I begin to think that could be true, days like these happen. I hate these days. I hate these days so much. Therapy is already hard enough, and these nightmares make me feel like what little progress I've made is now worthless. All of the doubts that I try to keep, so hard to keep in check, break free, and they're merciless.
I wipe away a few of her tears and gently grasp her hands in mine. We will get through this, Sayori, just like I said. I don't care how long it takes, or what we have to endure. She looks away. Why is it that I never feel like I'm actually getting through to her? Don't start thinking like that. I have to try and stay positive for both our sakes. Even though seeing her like this is one of the most demoralizing things on the planet. No matter what, you'll never be alone in dealing with this. And if your pieces are broken, we'll create new ones. I can imagine how hard it is for you. Oh no.
Really, Daniel? How can you possibly know what it's like to feel how I'm feeling? Exactly, you don't. You don't know what this feels like. The constant numbness, the constant feeling that no matter what I do, the shadow will always be here. Crying myself to sleep, waking up in tears, having to fake everything because you're terrified that people will see the real you. But I've seen the real you, and you're still here, and you're still trying to help. I get it. I really do. I know you're just trying to help, but it's hard to see your encouragement as anything more than empty words. This isn't something you can fix just by saying the right stuff.
No, it's not. And, like I said, you can't just snap your fingers and make it go away. She bursts into tears once more.
As much as I wish it was.
I scoop her into a hug. She tries to push me away initially, but I hold her firm, holding her closer to my chest. She eventually abates and sobs unrestrained into my chest.
I'm scared, Daniel.
I whisper softly in her ear as I gently stroke the back of her head. I know, Sayori. I'm scared as well. We both fall silent, with the only sounds permeating the room being the sound of her anguished cries. Sayori? She mumbles into my chest. I'm sorry if I say the wrong things. I just don't know what the right things to say and do are.
This whole thing is just totally alien to me, and after you told me that my words are pretty much empty, well, I'm starting to doubt everything. She winces slightly as she bites her lip. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It came out much harsher than I intended. I want to believe what you say, I really do. I know that I shouldn't feel jealous, and that I shouldn't compare myself to the other girls. I want to believe all of the lovely, reassuring things you say to me. But I can't. I know that what you're saying makes sense. It's just internalizing it is a whole other story. It's not your problem. It's all on me, being unable to get over this stupid thing. Depression isn't just a stupid thing, though. I know it's much more than that, Daniel. I just can't help how angry it makes me. I just want to be normal, like everyone else. It's like I'm not in control of my own body. The depression is the one that chooses my mood for the day. It chooses how I react to things and what I say. Like the day you made me breakfast. I really wish that I was appreciative from the start, instead of being irritated that you were in my room so early. It's just so unfair. And I keep going on and on about it, and... Don't ever apologize for venting about your depression, Sayori. I know that my words probably don't sound as reassuring and helpful as I want them to be, but one thing that'll never change will be my willingness to listen. You've been battling this alone for so long, so it's only fair that I can be a shoulder to cry on. Problem shared is a problem halved, right? Well, it's obviously not that simple in this case, but it's something, right? She sniffles and nods slowly. It does help, at least to be able to talk about it. That's something, then. Having you around, as much as I don't think I deserve your support, it does make a difference. That makes me happy, then. Really? Yeah. It might not be a huge help, but it's still some help, right? She pauses to reflect. Yeah, I guess so. She nods and shifts herself so that her head lies on my lap. Once she settles, I start absent-mindedly stroking her hair. Can I be honest with you, Daniel? Of course. She bites her lip and looks at the floor. I really don't want to carry on with therapy. What? Why? You told me yesterday that Dr. Satoshi was really understanding. He is. It's just hard to explain. Can you try, for my sake? Yeah, you're really pushing her now. I hate to push her like this, especially when it's clearly something that isn't easy to talk about. But hearing her saying that she doesn't want to carry on receiving help has made me panic. She sighs. It wouldn't matter if he was the best therapist on the planet or the worst one. I've always been reluctant to try therapy again, like I said a few days ago. It's terrifying. He was so empathetic, but every time he speaks, it's just a constant reminder of the last time where therapy got me absolutely nowhere. How do I know this just won't be a repeat of last time, Daniel? I don't want to have to go through all of that again. I don't think I'd be able to. Hey, it's different this time. I'm here. But that's another problem. I know you want me to get better, perhaps more than I do. For the most part, I've almost given up, but I know that you still have a lot of hope for me. And I know that I disappointed you when I told you that I didn't want to carry on with therapy, right? I don't say anything. She's right. I did get a horrible sinking feeling in my chest. But I can't exactly say that. Unfortunately, my silence speaks volumes. I don't blame you. But it's another worry I have to deal with. Last time, I didn't have to worry about letting anyone down. Well, apart from my parents. I can see it on your face, Daniel. You're eager for my depression to be cured.
I'm kind of wondering now, where are her parents? Is that so wrong? She gives a short, humorless laugh.
No, of course it isn't. But it's another expectation. An expectation from someone who means the world to me. The last thing I'd want to do is hurt you.
Sayori, you don't have to worry about that. I knew what I was getting into. I didn't expect a quick fix. Well, I say that, but now I'm starting to realize I had no idea what I signed up for when I made Sayori my girlfriend. Well, just keep comments like that to yourself. Anyway, here's what I think. Okay, here is the third, and possibly one of the last of the major choices I have to make. So to get the good route, tell Mom about Sayori, have Sayori stay the night, and offer to join Sayori at therapy. So, give therapy another chance. Well, I don't know how close I am to the end here. This is only like, what, 7 episodes so far? Okay, well. And this is really, really gonna hurt. In the sense that I don't want to see her sad, but damn my completionist nature. Well, I will do better for you, I promise. Although, of course, I know in life you don't get any second chances. I reached out to squeeze her hand. Look, I know it must be really scary for you. I totally see why you're feeling the way you are. Do you now? But this is the only way you're going to get better. It might be a rough start, but that's kinda expected, right? The important thing is that you're at least trying, and I'll always be here to support you.
But Daniel...
I'm not going anywhere, Sayori. No matter how many therapists we have to go through. She doesn't look happy in the slightest. I hate having to push her into this. Yeah. I am as well. I tell myself that it has to be done, but it doesn't make me feel any better. You're already doing so well, and it means a lot to me that you're even trying. She sighs and slowly nods. Yeah, at this point she probably feels like she doesn't really have any other choice left. Okay. Although part of me feels relieved. That horrible, overwhelming feeling of not knowing what I'm doing doesn't grow any weaker. Oh, to know what the right thing to do is. Really, I know. It's not like I can... Like how for this, I just looked up random YouTube comments, hoping that I'd find the right answers. But of course, life doesn't always work that way. The right answers, whether they're right in front of you, or you search through a book, or through a website, or whatever, sometimes the answers will be there, sometimes they won't be. And you have to find them yourself. Well, I guess another minor spoiler, I guess, here, according to my notes. The apparent fourth thing I need to consider is apparently going home with Yuri. That hasn't happened yet. And, well, for the most part, the other three options I chose are apparently deciding factors in all this as well. If not the main deciding factors. So if there is some kind of go home option, then, well, I know what I'm gonna have to do to basically seal all our fates here, as much as I don't want to. It's been about 2 weeks since Sayori's latest nightmare. I wish I could say that things were steadily improving, but not much has changed. The only good news is that she's been prescribed antidepressants, so I'm hoping that they make a positive difference. On the other hand, there's been a few days where Sayori's depressive moods became a little more apparent in school. She's also missed a few days, and the two things combined have caused the other club members to become a little suspicious. Oh no. They expressed their concern, but Sayori's mental walls remained firm. I felt bad about how in the dark the other girls were, but it isn't my position to say what's going on. You need to keep her trust. You can't betray her trust. Not without her. You can't say anything not without her consent. Although I wish I could, because I don't feel like I'm making any progress with Sayori, and not having anyone to talk about it is becoming harder and harder. Hopefully Sayori will be comfortable telling the other girls in her own time. I've also had other things to worry about, given it's now February. I've had to pay a little more attention to school matters, namely the end of the semester next month. Sakurai has also been talking to students about their future plans. It's scary to think that next year is my final school year. He wants to see me after the lesson ends, so what feels like the first time ever, I started to think about what I want to do after I leave school. As the bell rings, he calls me over. You have the same look I had on my face when my homeroom teacher wanted to talk about my post-school plans. I appreciate his use of humor in this situation. He's always been efficient at helping me feel at ease, especially in situations where I feel out of my depth. If you don't know what you want to do, I wouldn't worry about it too much. After all, you're just a second year, so you have another year to figure it out. Having said that, do you have any idea at all? To be honest with you, sir, I haven't really given it much thought at all. The past 5 months have been they haven't really given me much time to think about. Well, let's try this from another angle. Does higher education interest you at all? Going to university? Or would you perhaps be more inclined finding a job as soon as you leave school? I paused for a moment to think, trying to recollect what my parents used to tell me when we had this kind of conversation. University sounds good, although I'm not sure what I'd study. He nods approvingly. You'll definitely find it easier to land a job if you have a degree under your belt. Yeah, I'm not saying anything. That's good to know then. All I have to do is pick a subject, I guess. I know it can be a little daunting, especially when you aren't sure. My advice would be to go with a subject you enjoy and do well in. Far from me to be biased, but you are a rather talented historian. I chuckle. That was one of my best subjects as well. What can you do with a history degree, though? I believe a cousin of mine, apparently one of her friends got a history degree because she loved it, but then, yeah, that's a good question. What do you do with it? I think as far as I'm aware, I don't know if that friend went into teaching or whatever. So I don't know. The skills you get from a history degree can transfer to a lot of other fields. A lot of historians that I knew went to journalism, academia, teaching, or even the law. Okay. Well, this actually makes a lot more sense now. So you can use those skills to kind of branch out into other things. Obviously, I'm not biased in any way, but history is the best subject to study. My science teachers say otherwise, sir. He grumbles to himself. Don't mention science in this classroom. Those haughty scientists. If they could pry themselves away from their Bunsen burners and glass vials for 5 minutes. Ahem. Oh no, please continue with that. I'm dying to know what you were going to say next. Anyway, it's good you've at least got a vague idea of what you want to do. There's no rush or anything. Just take some time to think about what you'd like to study at university. We can always have another discussion later. Will do, sir. Thank you. With the conversation over, I made my way to the club room for lunch. Okay, well, Sayori's here. Hey, guys. Hi, guys! Natsuki gives me a curt nod, while Sayori gives me a weak smile. The door opens once more and Yuri walks in. Sayori's already weak smile wavers even further. Yeah, she's here in her mind thinking, oh great, the competition's here. She doesn't dislike her by any means, but it's clear that the jealousy is still an issue. I sigh inwardly. I have no idea on how to solve that issue, given I don't think Sayori is willing to disclose her depression with Yuri. Yeah, it's really all up to her to kind of make that sort of push. But how you do it, well, that's another question entirely. One theory I could think of is the depression is basically making her feel like she's not worth anyone's time and whatever. Essentially, it's affected her self-perception and her self-worth. Therefore, she has a low opinion of herself. Therefore, it's obvious for her to immediately put herself down in favor of anyone else that she perceives as being better. So the problem is really with her self-perception and her own self-confidence as a person, which has been wrecked by her depression. So, really well, I don't know if it's really the best way, but one way to get over the jealousy would be to improve her self-confidence and her self-image. Because I can say with experience that having a low self-opinion of yourself is not the best at all. As I pull out my food, I notice that Monica has barely greeted me, because she hates me. Her face is glued to her laptop, with a terse look on her face. Everything alright, Monica? She finally drags her eyes off her screen and looks at me. It seems like she's only just realized I'm talking to her.
Yeah, sorry. Had to sort out some important emails. How are you?
It's easy to spot from a mile off that her smile is forced. I decide not to push it. Not bad, not bad. Sakurai was just talking to me about what my plans are after high school.
I think it's a common practice for all of the teachers to ask their students, given we're second years and the end of the semester isn't so far off.
Heh, bet that was fun. We don't have to bother with that stuff just yet. Just you wait. Lucky, I still don't really know what I want to do. I told him I wanted to go to university, but I can't really decide what I want to do. Starting to realize I probably should have given this more thought.
That's a little irresponsible, Daniel. Your future holds so much weight, and time flies by so quickly.
Yeah, tell me about it. My face heats up from embarrassment. She's right, of course, but it seems like her judgment is coming out of nowhere. No, I know where her judgment is coming from. It's coming from her parents. I look at Sayori, half expecting her to jump to my defense. There's that again. She doesn't, though. Instead, she idly pokes at a spot on the table. The other girls look curiously at us. They can sense that something is up. I don't want to draw too much attention to Sayori, so I decide to deflect their curiosity. How about you, Yuri? Any ideas? I was about to say, oh great, now you're gonna make things worse, but then, well, Natsuki's already here, like, I don't have to worry about that yet. And I'm not sure if Monica would be willing to divulge any of her plans. Especially given how confirmed he now feels like she does kind of look down on him. So, I guess by process of elimination, that only leaves one person.
I decided that I wanted to study Japanese literature at university.
Fitting choice. Yuri smiles to herself. Because now you're giving her more attention, and that's gonna make her feel worse.
I suppose it comes as a surprise to no one.
And to the surprise of absolutely no one.
I can imagine it would be both an exciting yet daunting experience.
University?
Yes. On the one hand, there's the opportunity to meet many like-minded people, all with the same passion. Yet there's so much independence, especially if you opt for a university far from home. And with that independence comes a lot of responsibility, and I'd imagine a fair degree of uncertainty.
Who knows what life will be like for all of us when we've left school? My question hangs in the air as the conversation lapses into silence. Monica mutters something under her breath. How about you, Monica? I imagine you've got a lot of choice, given how you excel in pretty much every subject. She finally closes the laptop lid with a sigh.
My parents have been hounding me with the exact same question for months now.
Oh great, now she hates me even more than she did.
I'll probably take over their business.
What is their business? There's a hint of what sounds like bitterness in her voice. Granted, I know very little about her life. Well, at least anything beyond surface level. So it's a little baffling.
We'll have to wait and see.
An awkward silence descends upon the room. Clearly, it isn't just me who's detected Monica's slightly hostile tone. Luckily, Yuri breaks the silence. That's a first.
Are you alright, Sayori? You've been rather quiet. Yeah, that's not like you at all.
Even Monica glances over at Sayori's direction.
Oh, I'm fine. Just kinda tired, that's all. Don't worry about me.
Well, the other girls don't look convinced in the slightest, but they don't have much chance to press her as the lunch bell rings. I remember being in their position last semester, and boy do I not envy them. As the end of the school day rolls around, I find myself wandering down the corridor, waiting for Sayori to finish. Along the way, I bump into Monica.
Hey, Daniel.
She keeps her voice low and quickly looks around before speaking.
Is Sayori okay?
Ugh. Man, if only I could say something, but she'll be fine. Well then, well, like I said, one, you'd be betraying her trust, and two, I don't really know what Monica would be able to do in this situation. Just dealing with some stuff, that's all. And by stuff, I mean her interpersonal demons that haunt her at every waking moment. And just like that, it was that easy to lie to Monica. What, you thought it was going to be difficult? I mean, it's not like she's some kind of all-powerful god who can read your mind. You can't do that, can you? Is that what it's like to be Sayori? To put on a front and pretend everything is okay? Basically, putting on the mask.
She's been missing a lot of days of school this semester.
And now that I think about it, if you consider that, imagine what her grades might be. Well, that's probably the least of things, but...
And it looks like something's bothering her. You don't seem as worried compared to when she was like this last semester. Or, you don't seem worried compared to when she was like this last semester.
That was when I knew less about her. She narrows her eyes at me. I guess what I said must have come across as pretty cryptic. Yeah, now she just wants to know, okay, well then tell me more about her, or something like that.
Okay. Well, let me know if we can help in any way, okay?
We?
The other club members. We're all friends, after all, don't forget.
Yeah, but, well, It's Sayori's call at the end of the day. Oh, of course. I mentally smacked myself for asking such a stupid question. It's appreciated. I'll see what Sayori thinks.
Okay then. Well, I'll see you later.
Well, I think Sayori is definitely more convincing than I am. She's a better actress. She walks off, and after a couple of moments, Sayori comes out of her class.
Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. Let's go. Oh man, this weather. As we make our way home, Sayori is unnaturally quiet. I'm not a fan of the awkward tension. Monica seemed a bit snappy today, don't you think?
What?
You know, during lunch. Don't you remember? She kinda told me off for not having given my future much thought. And she thinks that I'm an idiot, and she's looking down on me.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't defend me. Okay, well, obviously I doubt she felt like even talking to anybody.
Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. Yeah, I don't know what's up with her.
The conversation trails off once more. She's worried about you, you know. She asked about you just now. The girls can all tell there's something going on. Have you thought about telling them about your
No!
I'm taken aback by the strong tone in her voice. It's also rare that she interrupts me. Why not?
Shouldn't you know this by now, Daniel? It was hard enough telling you. If I tell 3 more people, that means 3 more people have to worry about me. It's not worth it. But please, can we just leave it at that? The past few days have been really hard, so I really don't want to go into it.
Yeah, okay. I try to keep the bitter disappointment out of my voice. By this point, I was hoping that Sayori would be a little more receptive when it comes to talking about her depression. Yet even 3 months after I found out, her walls are so strong. And I still don't know what I'm doing. Every suggestion feels like a wild shot in the dark.
Anyway, I've so much homework to be catching up on. I'll see you tomorrow.
You can do it around mine if you want. I could help you.
No, it's okay. We'd only get distracted anyway.
Oh. Okay then. I move forward to give her a goodbye kiss, but she's already gone. Trying and failing to fight off the disappointment and sadness flooding through me, I make my way home. And as I do, I can't help but wonder if dating Sayori was a good idea. Well, depending on what you do, and depending on how you yourself, MC, act on this idea, well, I'll say it'll determine how much faith and respect I have for you. And given that I have little respect for him to begin with because I think that he's kind of an idiot who makes my blood boil, yeah, my opinion of you isn't the greatest so far. But all I can say is pretty much, you know, in that sense, it almost feels like if you're already thinking like this, then I almost feel like you shouldn't have even bothered giving this poor girl any hope whatsoever. Granted, yes, she was in love with him, but at the same time, if you're just going to date her for a while and then pretend, and then feel like, you know, I can't put up with this right now, or I don't like this anymore, whatever, and you decide you want to break it off, well, let's just say that I don't really have too much of a high opinion of people who do that. As I'm trying to take my mind off today's events with some anime, my phone rings. Is it the invisible mom? It's Mom. Oh man, I haven't spoken to her in ages, so I'm prepping myself for a lecture. Seriously, where is she for most of this? This music is kind of different.
Hello, stranger.
Hey, Mom.
I'd almost forgotten what your voice sounded like.
Yeah, and I keep forgetting how to make your voice sound, even though I'm kind of doing a very poor imitation of my own mother's voice, in a way. Well, like I think I mentioned, she also had this very poor imitation of my voice, so in a sense, we're even on that regard. I went, yeah, I saw this coming a mile away. I'm sorry. I really am. I sigh. I should have called you sooner. It's just... there's been a lot going on. She chuckles lightly.
Ah, yes. Starting to see how having a girlfriend isn't easy, huh?
You have no idea. You could say that.
Daniel?
Yeah. Her tone became very gentle, very quickly. The change throws me off guard for a second.
What's wrong?
Huh? Nothing. I'm fine.
Come on, sweetheart. What's happened?
It's nothing that won't blow over by itself. Well, that was a barefaced lie. I'm really getting better at this, aren't I?
Was it an argument?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, you're not giving me much to work off, but in my experience, fights are normal in a relationship. Give it a couple of days, and I imagine you two will be back to your normal, cheerful selves. Sayori especially.
Oof. For Sayori especially. That comment rings in my head. Oh, if only she knew. My vision becomes a little blurry, and I hastily reach up to wipe away the tear that has suddenly rolled down my face. It takes a lot of my mental fortitude not to sniffle. If Mom heard me crying, there's no way she'd hang up until she got to the bottom of it. Temporarily putting the phone on mute, I clear my throat and take a deep breath. Yeah, hopefully. First relationships are a little daunting. Anyway, Sakura was telling me earlier about my plans after high school, or talking to me. Crazy to think that I'm almost at that stage in my life.
You don't stay young forever, I'm afraid. What did you tell him?
I wasn't sure, in all honesty. I said I'd probably go to university, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. I think he wanted me to go into history, but that's a given.
A good choice. Analytical, too. Would definitely help you find a job.
Okay, well then I guess for my aunt who said that, questioning what good a history degree would be, well, apparently yes. I didn't think about it that way. I just listened to her tell me about how my cousin's friend went into teaching because she had a history degree. But yeah, I guess those analytical skills and remembering all these facts and dates and whatever, that could be very handy. Yeah, that's true. I don't want to pick too soon, though, especially as I haven't even finished my second year yet.
Of course, honey, but it never hurts to talk... But it never hurts to think about your future. What does Sayori want to do?
A lump forms in my throat as I remember that Sayori didn't once participate in that conversation. Even Natsuki, a first year, did. And all she said was, I'm lucky I don't have to think about that yet, or whatever. Oh. I don't know. We haven't really spoken about it.
You two are just like each other. Well, I'm sure you'll both figure it out together. Oh, and I've been meaning to tell you. We managed to finish dealing with this difficult client a little earlier than expected, so I'll be able to come home soon.
My heart races. Finally, some good news amongst all of the doom and gloom that's been defining my life over the past few weeks.
Really?
It'd be great to see you again. I've missed you a lot.
I've missed you too. I've always felt guilty about not being there for you.
You don't have to worry about that, Mom. Work is work. Not much you can do about that.
I know. Motherly instincts, I suppose. Anyway, how...
The sound of a voice calling hers... A sound of a voice calling her name cuts through the call.
Ah, no. I was really hoping I'd get to talk to you for a bit longer, but unfortunately I've got to go. I'll see you soon, okay? Oh, and by the way, don't forget that it's Valentine's Day coming up, so I want to hear how you treated Sayori like a princess, okay? I love you, Daniel. Bye.
Love you too, Mom. See you soon. And with a click, I'm left alone once more. Alone again, naturally. At least I feel better after talking to Mom. It's reassuring to know that even though she's miles and miles away, she's still able to cheer me up. Although I have a new worry, Valentine's Day. I've never done anything for it before, so planning some kind of romantic activity is beyond me. And given how Sayori's kind of feeling... Given how she's feeling right now, yes, it's gonna be a little more difficult. I'll chew it over with the girls tomorrow. Okay, and with that, nothing of any relative importance happens whatsoever. Yeah, my voice is kind of... I'm losing my voice! And I think I've been recording so many videos for so many... Well, 2 mods, actually, but... Still, quite a bit. Like, only a 5-day gap here. But anyways, okay, well... Yeah, and since this is going to be a little over 2 hours, yeah, I think I gotta stop it there. So next time, well, let's see what we do. What's gonna happen on Valentine's Day. I'm definitely eager to see how that goes. So I'll see you guys next time. Stay golden, and later, folks.